Good morning. Amazon. Flash briefing.
Jamie, here's your flash briefing. In NPR News.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. There's no news reported from the search for a missing submersible in the North Atlantic Ocean. Last Sunday, 5 people aboard descended underwater to see the Titanic. They haven't been found. From member station WBUR, Walter Wuthman says searchers detected a banging noise underwater yesterday.
Canadian military surveillance planes apparently heard these noises Tuesday and then again yesterday. A marine scientist brought in to consult described those noises as banging sounds.
Yeah,
officials are really
so that submersive vehicle is remote controlled.
Captain Jamie Frederick said they haven't determined the
Doesn't even have a
source of the
driver
noise
on board.
It's not necessarily
There's all kinds of quirky things going wrong with it. Investors pulled out of it because of such things.
The origin of the noise, but so far they just haven't found anything.
And then Walter Wuthman reported,
I heard that
the battle over
somebody was on there. There was
an
ancestor of one that went down on the Titanic. I don't know if that's true. So they didn't learn much.
Reports Congress has about 3 months to
boarding
work out its
things that
differences, or it will
still
again
need to be tested.
risk a government shutdown.
Lawmakers on the Senate Appropriations Committee are expected to meet today to discuss the top-line spending levels for each of the 12 spending bills on the table. They're expected to match the levels that are contained in the bipartisan debt ceiling bill that was signed into law late last month. The meeting will likely set the stage for what's expected to be a drawn-out fight over government spending in the coming months. A group of conservative hardliners in the House is pushing for deeper cuts in the budget than what was outlined in the debt ceiling bill. If the two sides fail to reach an agreement by the end of September, parts of the government could shut down. Windsor Johnson, NPR News, Washington.
President Biden welcomes Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the White House today for a meeting. Biden will host Modi tonight for a formal state dinner. Stocks opened mixed this morning as the Bank of England ordered a bigger than expected interest rate hike. NPR Scott Horsley reports the Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped nearly 40 points in early trading.
The Bank of England raised its benchmark interest rate by half a percentage point. A recent cost of living report showed little improvement in the UK inflation rate, which is more than double what it is in the US. Central banks in Turkey and Norway also raised rates today. For Turkey's central bank, the move marks a turnaround from what had been an unorthodox policy of trying to fight inflation with lower interest rates. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell told lawmakers yesterday interest rates in the U.S. will likely have to go higher this year. Powell's back on Capitol Hill for a second round of questioning today. The number of people applying for unemployment benefits has shown little change in the last 3 weeks as the overall job market remains tight. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
Stocks are still mixed on Wall Street. The Dow is now down more than 30 points. The Nasdaq is up more than 18. You're listening to NPR News from Washington. Fire officials in Texas say a 4th person has been killed by a tornado that crashed through the town of Matador last evening. The town is north of Lubbock. 10 people have been injured. Another tornado in the same region last week killed 3 people. Unionized workers have rejected a proposed contract at a Kansas company that makes fuselages for aircraft maker Boeing. The workers say they are ready to go on strike starting on Saturday. In Turkey, the central bank has approved a sizable hike in interest rates. These have nearly doubled. It's a sharp change from recent years. NPR's Peter Kenyon reports the move comes after a new financial team was appointed following President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's re-election.
The rate hike goes against Erdogan's economic ideas. He has long insisted that low interest rates not only drive economic growth but are compatible with low inflation, defying conventional economic theory. Inflation in Turkey soared to more than 85% last fall and is still running at nearly 40%. On the campaign trail, Erdogan promised to bring inflation down to single digits by the end of the year. Economists say the shifting attitude towards interest rates will squeeze Turkey's economy, but some hope it will come to the rescue of the Turkish lira, which lost more than 80% of its value, prompting people to try to move foreign currencies out of local banks. Peter Kenyon, NPR News, Istanbul.
Leaders of the Church of England say they're going to strip church investment out of fossil fuel products. The church had already started to sell down its holdings in some fossil fuel companies. Now it will entirely divest from them by the end of this year. I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News in Washington.
Listen to this podcast sponsor-free on Amazon Music with a Prime membership or any podcast app by subscribing to NPR News Now Plus at plus.npr.org. That's plus.npr.org.
In NASA news, NASA and the USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture, signed a memorandum of understanding Wednesday strengthening the collaboration between the two agencies, including efforts to improve agricultural and earth science research, technology, agricultural management, and the application of science data and models to agricultural decision-making. Media accreditation is open for launch of the next commercial resupply service's mission to deliver NASA's science investigations, supplies, and equipment to the International Space Station. During a ceremony at the Ecuador Embassy in Washington on Wednesday, Ecuador became the 26th country to sign the Artemis Accords. Karen Feldstein, NASA Associate Administrator for International and Interagency Relations, participated in the signing ceremony for the agency, and Gustavo Manrique Miranda, Ecuador's Foreign Affairs Minister, signed on. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson led a ribbon-cutting ceremony Wednesday to showcase a new Earth Information Center at NASA headquarters in Washington. The center is part physical space and part virtual experience, which shows how NASA data can improve lives in the face of disasters, environmental challenges, and our changing world.
And virtual.
NASA will provide lift coverage as two Roscosmos cosmonauts conduct a spacewalk outside the International Space Station Thursday, June 22nd, for station upgrades and retrieval of equipment. In weather. Right now in Seattle, it's 57 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly cloudy skies. Today's forecast has mostly sunny weather, with a high of 75 degrees and a low of 56 degrees.
Nice. All right,
From
Amazon.
NASA.
Off.
NASA and the
Amazon.
USDA, US...
Off. Amazon. Tell us a joke.
What kind of music does Spider-Man like to dance to?
Oh, okay, it's Spider-Man, huh?
Swing music.
Okay.
Swing music.
Amazon. Turn off Spider-Man theme.
Okay, I've disabled it.
Amazon. Tell us a joke.
Why was Cinderella wandering around the pumpkin patch? She was in the market for a new ride.
Okay. All right, everybody. Have a great Thursday. Yeah.